Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
I think the idea for this podcast actually started with a conversation between Jay Stevens and myself, in which one day he came in the studio like he normally does to give me a kiss in the morning, and he goes, "Bro, oh my God.
Yep, that's what happened.
Bro, I was sitting at home playing poker.
You need to watch this.
I see this documentary. It's called Abducted in Plain Sight. You seen it?" And I was like, "No, man, I never seen that thing." He's like, "Oh my God, you need to watch it." And so I think that day I was like, I didn't have anything going on. It was before the kid was born. It was last year. And Krista was at work. And I started it, and I'm like, what the hell? And I have tried.
You're not alone.
I've tried so hard to get him back for making me watch this thing.
You're not alone. I have turned probably 10 different people on to this documentary, and every one of them at 19, 20 minutes into the show, stop it, and they text me, "Dude, what the F are you making me watch?
Why would you do this to me?
What the? I can't believe this. And then, but then at the 20 point of this movie, then it just gets even crazier. At the 20-minute mark, you think, okay, this is insane. Well, that's just the start. It just takes off like a rocket ship. Agreed? It's an insane story.
It starts kind of weird. I don't want to say it's weird, because it is weird, but you don't really see it coming. That's for sure.
Oh, God.
You don't see it coming, and you don't see some of the stuff. There are certain things we can talk about, and
right. The thing is, we don't want to give spoilers.
I don't want to give away so much. I definitely don't want to talk about certain.
It's called
incidents.
Abducted in Plain Sight, and can we ballpark? The gist of it is, a family knew this guy, neighborhood friend, buddy. They used to hang out all the time, and he ends up stealing one of their kids.
He doesn't just steal one of their kids.
That's ballpark without giving away spoilers.
Way beyond that.
Way deeper than that, and his web gets sewn deep into the family.
Very, very deep, and we are going to dive into the pool next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. One of the things that I have said in public many times is that if anyone ever screws with my kids, I would have no problem sitting in a concrete cell for the rest of my life with a smile on my face, knowing that I ended your life.
Death would occur.
It's not a threat. It is a promise to anyone that screws with my kids, my family members, and really to an extent my friends, especially like the way this guy did. I will find you. I will. And I have friends that will help me. I swear to God.
This movie will definitely
get you angry.
Get you mad.
Especially if you are a parent of a daughter.
If you're a parent, yeah. But then also, you get so mad at this family because they let all this happen.
Roll it back.
It's not like some stranger just steals your kid, and it's like out of the blue.
No, it was a guy that was over at their house, that was at barbecues, that sometimes read to the kids in bed and weird things. We'll get into that in a second, but before we go down that, I got to roll it back here. We try so hard on this station to not get political or religious, but we can't not talk about religion for a second if we're going to discuss this documentary, Abducted in Plain Sight. And the reason is, this family was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I don't want to make them sound bad, but when it comes to organized religion, some people are a little more malleable. They follow a little bit more. They believe with that. They have faith in things that there's no way someone could be up to wrong. They don't. They look past.
That's a fair, safe way to say it.
I don't want to. I don't want to call them naive, because I think that's
kind of naive, and
saying that people
trusting.
That people who are part of this church or Christians or Muslim or Jewish or whatever are naive because they believe in God or Jesus or Muhammad or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that a lot of times when you hear stories about this, almost always, and I know I'm generalizing here, there is a foundation of, we were brought up in this really strong, hardcore religious home, and in some cases that makes people naive. Because they're fed and they eat, and they don't go beyond that. They don't look at the world for what it is. They don't look at people like, this guy could be a monster.
Maybe sheltered life too.
And so when you say that they were naive, it's ingrained in the fact that they were very, very religious, and they chose to have faith in people that they were good people. And I love that because I'm definitely a positive person. And when things go wrong, I do my very best to look in the situation and say, okay, what's the positive here? What's the positive here? Because I've got to hold on to that. Because if you hold on to the negative, you become negative. So I firmly believe in that. But there is a line here. And that line is definitely your family. Okay? I do not care what church you go to, how you were raised. It does not matter. When it comes to my family, everyone is suspect when it comes to that stuff. And I cannot believe this family let this thing go on.
Yeah, you watch this documentary and you're going to be, throughout the movie, probably 15 times you're going to yell at the TV even, be like, how can you be so stupid?
What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Just without giving a lot of spoilers, just one small little piece of it. At one point, this dude who he I don't know if he already had got busted for some type of being sex offender or having bad thoughts, but he tells the dad and the mom, I need to sleep in the bed with your daughter as part of my therapies.
It helps me. Yeah. And this honestly wasn't the only time that he used that excuse to get things the way he wanted.
Without giving away spoilers, that's just like a teaser of kind of where this is headed.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to talk about the kidnappings. We're going to have to. And we don't want to get too into the
It's about a kidnapping, but it's about way deeper.
Way beyond that. And we'll get into that next. Dark Side of the Stream.
And it's about kid stuff.
Jay. Sorry, making it worse. We'll get to part 3 next on 104.7 The Cave. Jay Stevens, Mike, the intern in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream. We didn't want Joe to get too mad, so we kind of said, hey, why don't you take the week off?
The moody cat.
We didn't want to make him mad.
The moody cat would have just got upset with this one.
Abducted in Plain Sight is the documentary we're talking about. We don't want to get into too much of this because you really, really need to see this. If not,
it's
just
on Netflix.
To remember that you need to do everything you can to protect your family, but also to not be so naive. And if someone smells like a rat, they're a rat. And that is the story of Robert Berchtold, the man that we were talking about, the neighbor of the Broberg family who lived next door. And we already established that at one point he convinced them he was going through therapy. And the way he would feel better was to sleep in the bed with their 12-year-old girl. I think she was younger than that at the point because he actually, in fact, kidnapped her at 12 years old. And then again, when she was 14 years old, he did it twice. And the first time they didn't press charges.
Yeah, because they thought, he took our kid, but he'll bring her back. They're just out riding horses or something. And then this dude had a really twisted plot of trying to brainwash the girls when he starts saying it's about aliens, and he made a fake tape recording that was like an alien leader. Like, without giving spoilers, I'm just trying to give enough teaser where you people go, as soon as this podcast is over, as soon as this radio program is over, you're going to go, I need to watch this show right now. And you do. You need to watch it.
You really do. I mean, again, we're not trying to scare you here. But
then I'll get hate mail for everybody you and all my friends that text me how much you hate me.
This? Again, if you don't want to be sick to your stomach, don't watch it.
That bad.
Dude, it made me sick to my stomach. It made me mad. But so yeah, he kidnaps her at 12 and 14. The most amazing. Well, there are two amazing things.
He's a family friend.
He's a family friend. He lived in the neighborhood. And we're not going to get into this, but there's a part where he actually convinced the father to do something with him. And
the mom at some point.
And then the mom ran away with him after he kidnapped her daughter
spoilers,
twice.
Yes,
he ran away with her.
You guys have to watch this movie, man. It's so unbelievable. If it was a Hollywood plot, once again, the best documentaries are, if it was a Hollywood movie, you would go, come on, there's no possible way this could happen in real life. But these things are happening in real life.
It did. Interestingly enough, the daughter that got kidnapped was an actress and acted in all these crazy ass stuff.
And she seems to come out. She seems to be the normalest out of the bunch after all this.
After she went through that, yeah. I mean, it's
out of the whole family.
It's an incredibly sad story, and this documentary won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 awards.
The craziest part is one of the producers of this movie or whatever. She was at my house years ago.
Which one? I'm looking at the names.
I gotta text
Is it Sky?
I'll text my buddy.
Emily or Stephanie?
I'll text my buddy.
It took him 3 years to make this movie.
When I talked about this movie on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, my buddy goes, hey, you know that so-and-so was at your house for a Sunday football barbecue. And I was like, are you kidding? Yeah, he brought her over there. Let me Let me text my buddy right now and see if we can get it by
We'll
the
get
next
that
break.
back hopefully by the final thing. But again, Abducted in Plain Sight is a great example of how some people in this world are naive and some people in this world are literally the worst evil pieces of stuff I can't say on the air that take advantage of people's good hearts. And at a certain point, you can blame your being naive on that, but then at a certain point, especially after your daughter gets kidnapped twice, I don't know what you blame it on. We'll get to our final discussion about Abducted in Plain Sight, our dark side of the stream on 104.7 The Cave. All right, was this thing on Netflix, Hulu? What was it on?
Netflix,
It was on Netflix?
Netflix, yeah.
So if you're paying every month for Netflix, you need to take the time and definitely don't watch it with the kids. Abducted in Plain Sight.
Yeah, don't watch it with the kids.
Our subject of the dark side of the stream. After Jay picked this one, I really didn't want to let him pick again, but I really don't have a choice. I don't really know what the lesson here is. Again, I guess the lesson here is don't believe your neighbors. I mean, see, that's the thing, though.
Well,
it's like if you're in a bad relationship and you get out of it and you're like, oh God, I'm never going to trust women again or men again, then you're cutting yourself off for what a possibility could be a great relationship. Same thing with friendship. You have a bad egg. It doesn't mean all your friends are going to be bad or treat you like that. But I guarantee you, this family probably thought twice about letting someone else into their house after something like this went down.
Well, and here's the thing, like I make this reference with the whole Michael Jackson thing as well. If you're my friend, bandmate or whatever, and you say, "Hey, I'm sleeping in bed with kids," or these kids are coming over my house for a sleepover, like I'm going to intervene. No matter who you are, I'm going to intervene. Like, dude, wait, what?
What are you doing?
Dude, you're not having kids sleep over in your bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that not come a thought with this family? Like,
you will be
even
blown.
if it's somebody else, even if I'm just an outsider watching this scenario, it's like, hey, whoa, I'm raising a flag here. You know what I'm saying?
It's like one of the most incredible gaslighting situations I've ever seen in my life. And again, what this guy was able to convince the parents and the kids of, it'll blow you away. It will blow you away.
Yeah, watch it. And like I said, there's several moments that are like, what the? And you're going to get mad at the TV, but
you can get mad at the parents.
But it's just
all day.
it's a crazy. Maybe it's an eye-opening story that there are people out there that are this naive or this trusting.
There are. That's the problem, and that's
maybe,
part of the reason.
Maybe watch it because if you have kids, it'll just maybe you'll keep a little bit more of an open eye. You know,
I guess, and
that could be the bright side of the whole thing.
I just can't see how someone would be convinced of all this stuff. And again, it goes back to being naive. And I don't want to get into it, but it's mind-boggling.
So when you hear me and Mike talk about, hey, bro, it's just kid stuff. After watching this movie, you'll know what that means.
Yeah, you'll know exactly what it means.
You'll know what the kid stuff means.
And you'll know that after Jay says that, I usually trip him in the hall and jump on top of him and start pounding him. Because it's like, I can't.
Dark side of the stream is going deep.
It's an eye-opening one. It's kind of like watching Schindler's List. You watch it once, you're like, wow, and you will never want to watch it again. Not because it's not a great movie. It's just emotionally, I cannot go through that. Yeah. I cannot go through that again.
Too gnarly, too dark. So Mike's letting me pick again because he didn't have a pick.
I mean,
this week.
I've kind of been.
I got a good one. I got a good one.
Well, here's what happens during the month of October. My family, my wife and I, we do this thing where we watch a horror movie or Halloween movie every night of October.
Holy cow, really?
Every night. And so
David S. Pumpkin's Halloween special?
One of them, all listed as one of them. Now we do, sometimes we float around and sometimes we'll say, hey, do you want to watch this instead of that? It's not all set in stone and you can change it up, but every year we do the same thing.
That's a really good challenge.
And I try to keep the kid ones on the nights that like I have my teenager and I don't.
Brilliant.
Yeah, because I'm not going to. I got to give it up to.
Subject her
she
to.
did watch Halloween on Friday. She's not good with ghost stuff, but she really loves unsolved mysteries. So I was like, well, what's the deal? You don't like good stuff, but you can watch like these stories about people
real life stories,
because
right?
it already happened. And I go, beautiful. Well, guess what? Halloween, it already happened. Happened in 78. It's already happened, and Michael Myers is gone that we know of.
Till Halloween 43.
Halloween Kills. Danny McBride is actually doing the next Halloween. Halloween Kills, and it's about Jamie Lee Curtis or Strode.
Oh man!
But yeah, it was supposed to come out this year, but COVID screwed that up, so they're going to push it back to next next year. And there's going to be a sequel to it, too.
Wow.
So we'll see. But, that's what we do. So that is
Mike's
the reason
busy doing that.
Mike's
busy doing family stuff. Meanwhile, I'm over here watching the weirdest movies I can find.
Documentaries, playing poker.
I got a good one. I watched this one randomly on a plane to Hawaii last year or something, I guess. I was like, okay, I'll click to see what it is. I see that it's now on Hulu. That's what reminded me of it yesterday. I saw it's on Hulu now. It is called 3 Identical Strangers. Basically, the gist of it is it's a set of triplets that were separated at birth, given up for adoption, raised in 3 different states and homes, and slowly start to somehow randomly bump into each other. Like, it's crazy. Again, I'm getting goosebumps because, again, it's a story that if it was written for a Hollywood movie, nobody would believe it, but this is a true story. And these guys eventually, they didn't even know that they had a twin, let alone a triplet. It's crazy. And it's amazing. And then they reconnect and then there's pitfalls and
life is stranger
and
than
then
fiction.
There's a twist in this one too, where you go, what the hell? And you're going to get mad again.
Okay. Well, hopefully not as mad as I was when I watched Abducted in Plain Sight. Life is stranger than fiction, sir. What do they say? Art imitates life, or life imitates art. It's art imitates life, because we can't write this stuff, especially if you've been alive for the year 2020. All right, 3 Identical Strangers.
3 Identical Strangers. It's on Hulu. Week. That's next week.
And,
Dark Side of the Stream.
Remember, hold your family safe and don't let strangers in.